I wanted to make another video about this game-changing financial product. Now, this is exclusive through Bay First Financial, right? So Bay First Financial, they're based out of Florida, but they do nationwide SBA lending. Now, within the SBA 7A program, right? So you have the community advantage. They also have what's called the Bolt loan program. This is going to be for smaller dollar SBA 7 loans, and they have a slightly different underwriting. Now, one of the major differences between just the regular 7A and the Bolt loan is that the Bolt loans are for $150,000 and less. You can close in about 2 to 3 weeks, and they're leaning more heavily on the strength of the personal guarantor versus the cash flow of the business. All they need as far as the underwriting, they're going to need the last year's filed business tax return. They're going to do a hard credit check on TransUnion, so you need at least a 700. Now, the way they determine how much you get up to that 150 is going to be based off of 30% of your gross revenue up to 150,000. So now what really stands out about this program is that you don't necessarily need to be profitable. So let's say, you had 500K in revenue, but you actually took a loss that year and you were unprofitable. The underwriting is still going to be based off of the top line, not the net. So unlike when you go to other banks, you report a loss on your business, it's hard to get funding. With this particular program, what stands out is that you could actually have a loss on your business tax returns and still get approved for up to $150,000. They're using what's called E-Trans. So E-Trans pretty much mirrors the FICO SBSS, the FICO Small Business Scoring Service. It is a composite score that looks at the beneficial owner's personal credit and the business credit, right? So it's a composite metric that considers factors from both the beneficial owner and the business, those two different credit profiles, personal and business. So it combines it, and you want to be at about 165, right? 165 or higher minimum as far as the FICO SBS. Now, if anyone's looking to increase their business credit score, we have a really good vendor that reports business credit, and this is a cloud server lease. So for any businesses out there who need ERP, so that's Enterprise Resource Planning tools, you could definitely consider this. And the limits go as high as $150,000. There's just a one-time setup fee, and this does report to Dun & Bradstreet as well as the Small Business Financial Exchange, which also has Experian Business as well as Equifax Commercial as members of the SBFE. So this will give you business credit reporting across the different bureaus. And that's another challenge as far as building business credit, because some accounts might report at one bureau, some at the other. And so having different accounts that give you coverage across the board definitely have a lot of value. Now, one way, again, to increase your business credit score, you can have a higher limit lease or a high limit loan reporting on your business credit, and that's going to actually help you as far as getting approved for higher limits. Now, as I've stated before in other videos, it's not just the business credit score by itself, but it's great supplemental data to enhance your profile and to get you access to even higher limits. Some of the major banks in the United States, such as TD Bank, M&T, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and even American Express do pull your business credit and do use it as a consideration for approving you. And again, they also look at your personal, but having a strong business credit profile can also enhance the approval. A prime example of this would be Capital on Tap. Some of y'all are familiar with that. A fintech where they're looking at a soft pull of your personal experience, but they're also pulling your business experience. And I've actually seen cases where people would have, let's say, a high personal credit on their Experian, but they don't have established business credit and they get denied because they're checking both. Now, going back to the Bay First SBA Bolt 7A program, again, they are looking at business credit, and you want to be mindful of the FICO SBSS. Now, if you want to get to see what your FICO SBS score is, you could definitely check out nav.com. I'll drop a link in the description. Go on to NAV. Now, you can only access the FICO SBSS through the premium subscription. So you do have to get the premium subscription to be able to get access to that. And one little caveat about NAV is that NAV is a reseller. They're kind of like a Credit Karma. They're not the actual credit reporting agency. So if you want an even more up-to-date score, I would suggest you go directly to the business credit bureaus to see that score in real time. But again, the FICO SPSS, you can get it through NAV. And if this is something you're interested in, I've dropped a link in the description of the video. You guys could definitely apply for Bay First Financial. They have the Bolt SBA loan. And this one right here is a game changer. We've been getting a lot of funding, and the funding coming quick. Again, 10-year notes, super competitive rates. The other thing I want to throw out is that they don't have to be in the first lien positions. Now, some banks you might go to, let's say, for example, a Chase, where if you get a business line of credit, they want to be in first position. That could cause issues because if there's multiple banks that you want to get a line of credit or a loan from that both want the first position, oftentimes they might want you to close out one of the lines of credit or refinance the debt with them so that they can keep the first position. Now, with this Bolt SBA 7A loan through Bay First Financial, you could have multiple UCCs on your business profile, and that's not going to prevent you from getting approved. They do not have to be in the first position. So again, that's a game changer in itself. And another thing I wanted to point out, right, you have a lot of this alternative financing, the MCAs and stuff like that. Oftentimes people don't know what the requirements are so that they can go to commercial banks so they can avoid all of that high interest capital. At the end of the day, again, I'm not knocking how businesses go about obtaining their money, but all you got to do, again, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but get your paperwork in order, fix your credit. We can both help you with that. If you need your credit restored, if you need help with getting your bookkeeping, or you need accountants, or maybe you're behind on your taxes and you need someone to go in, a tax attorney, to go in and renegotiate the taxes that you owe with the IRS, we could also help you with that. We have a ton of different resources. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because a lot of business owners I see who are running great businesses, their margins are getting eaten because they're relying on high interest MCAs and predatory types of loans because they're just not organized. Like if you're generating $100,000 or $200,000 a month in your business, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to go to a commercial bank. So anyways, Bay First Financial, again, up to $150,000 on the Bolt SBA loan. Again, a 700 TransUnion, you're going to need a 165 FICO SPSS minimum, and you're going to need 1 year, your most recent business tax returns. You can get the funds in about 2 to 3 business weeks. Again, and this is long-term, low-cost money that you could really use to scale your business. Again, I've dropped a link in the description of the video. Let's get it.
Now, a quick overview of the Bolt program. So this is for working capital and debt refinance from amounts a minimum of $25K up to $150,000. You can get funded within days. These are 10-year term loans with no prepayment penalty, and the interest rate is going to be indexed to the Wall Street Journal prime rate with a margin of 4.75%. And in terms of requirements, beneficial owners will need a minimum personal credit score of a 700, plus the business needs to be in business for a minimum of 2 years.